So I'm in my 20s and I really look around to a lot of friends and coworkers who are in similar scenarios. And I think a lot of people just lost hope. Like, why would I save up for years and years just to have a 20% down payment to put on a house that's just going to make me poor because it's already overpriced? And half the money I'm spending on the house anyway, I don't even see back at the end of the mortgage. In 2026, the average home price is $415,000. And mix that with today's interest rates, after 30 years, you will have nearly paid double for the home. And that price breaks down to a mortgage payment of $2,000 a month. But then again, that's just the mortgage payment. There's about another $2,000 to $3,000 a month in other expenses. And so at the end of the day, if you're in your 20s, why wouldn't you just rent and invest everything into the stock market? And for reality, that's what a lot of people are doing right now. That's why the stocks are going up. People are throwing their money in because they can't afford to live. And especially the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, why would you buy a house and barely scrape by when you can buy a Corvette on a lease and afford that comfortably and just live in your apartment? And I think a lot of people look at this and, they're just priced out of the housing market and have no hope. And at the end of the day, this whole video is about why housing market won't crash. And so I need to explain that why, and I want to hear you guys' opinions in the comments as well. So let's cut to it here. So number one, there are still way too little homes. So that's part of the reason that all the prices have been shooting up. People just have not been able to build homes. I mean, construction companies are not getting good amounts of people coming in their doors right now to build, and construction materials, and I'm an architect, so I can say this, construction materials are 3 times more expensive than what they should be right now. And so people aren't building homes, which means there are less homes to go around than ever before. And as we learned in basic economics, when the supply is low, prices just don't collapse. Number 2, again, this is reinforcing on the first thing I just said, but new construction is slowing down. Construction companies have to pay so much money in labor and materials just to build a house. And so when the client sees this, a lot of the time they just don't want to build. And if people are building, they're going to choose to build a luxury condo or apartment unit because they know for the price they're paying, they can have a lot better return on their investment building something like that than they would just building single family homes. Number 3, I'm calling this pent up demand. I came up with that, so I'm pretty happy with it. But what pent up demand means is, housing prices have been so expensive for the past 5 years, 6 years maybe, and people are ready to buy. They've been sitting on the sidelines because they had some glimmer of hope left in them that housing prices and interest rates would one day start to come down very quickly. Now, in 2026, that has still not happened. And so there's a lot of pent up demand in these people to buy a home, meaning if housing prices even start to remotely collapse or go down just a smidge, nobody's going to let it drop fully. All those people are going to swoop in and start buying like crazy. So again, back to economics, more buyers plus limited supply equals no crash. All right, number 4, the economy is still strong, or so we think. So a crash typically requires high unemployment, forced selling, and distressed inventory flooding the market. And I think a lot of you guys have the same idea as I do, but I think that the unemployment numbers are really being skewed by the government. And so when the government unemployment rates come out and it's sitting in 2 to 3%, it doesn't tell the full story about what's happening in the economy. So this ticker is heavily skewed. And since this is not going to be falling because people are messing with the numbers, then the housing prices aren't going to collapse. Now, if enough people get unemployed that nobody can afford their house in the first place, I'm talking like 20 to 30% unemployment, we're going to see a lot more people selling their homes, which mean, again, the people who have the pent-up demand are going to swoop in and start buying stuff. So, again, I don't think we'll see a housing crash due to this. In number 5, I'm pulling this off of Google because I thought it was funny, but experts overwhelmingly say a crash is unlikely. Now, I don't know who these experts are, and I've seen a ton of experts be wrong in the past, but if they say that a crash is unlikely, then I guess a crash is unlikely. But I guess we'll see. And I mean, in short, if a crash happens, I would be absolutely thrilled because I've been sitting on the sidelines as well, but I'm not willing to put in the money if things are just way too overpriced. So if there's a crash, I would definitely buy, but to me, it's looking like there will probably be no crash in 2026. So for all those who think otherwise, go ahead and leave your comment down below. I'd be happy to be convinced the other way, but in full reality, I just don't think it's going to happen. But if you made it this far in the video and you enjoyed the content, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button so I can see you guys in the next videos. But with that being said, take it easy. Peace.